are you ready to help me with my demo?
I'm ready, but I think I already helped you. I started it for you.
You did?
A week or so ago.
Because this is in honor of Heidi, and we're just going to have to hold.
Well, I think it should be in honor of our mother, too.
Well, it should be, because if you joined us a couple weeks ago, you know that Heidi created the burnt brown bag technique. And so what I was thinking about, there was a discussion, and let me change over to my demo cam. I need to come into the queue here. Okay, we're going to switch over to the demo cam.
Now, also, for those the newbies too, some of them might not remember that or not know that we are Aleene's daughters. That's why we're kind of dedicating this to moms.
That's right. I know we have some newbies who may not realize that. So, of course, most of you, oops, I better put the cap back on, have seen Aleene's tacky glue. Yes, that's our mom. And so we like to do some fun vintage techniques with Aleene's tacky glue. So this is what Heidi created a few weeks ago here on Cool2Craft in celebration of the vintage look of metal burnt brown bag. So the question that came up in the chat at the time was, can you stamp into it after you've burned it? And what was your answer, Heidi?
I said I'd have to try it.
Okay, so she didn't try it, but what I did is I thought, if you could stamp into it, I'm wondering if I could use my Sizzix Texture Boutique to add texture. And I did run this through my machine earlier this morning, and the glue kind of holds the texture. It's great on the back.
Yeah, it gave us a whole other idea of what to do, another project.
But it has a bit of the design. This one was so textured when Heidi burned it that it was harder to see the texture. So if anyone missed the technique a couple weeks ago, do you want us to show it again? Do you want us to show you how to do the burnt brown bag right now? Let me know. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so Heidi has prepared this butterfly, and of course you can do all sorts of different shapes. And what have you done here, Heidi?
I've got, on this one, I have two thicknesses of brown bag. Now, I'm using the brown grocery bag because it's thicker, and I have the Aleene's tacky glue sandwiched in between, and then I cut it out. And I put the wire on it so that you can put it into the flame. And if you were going, a lot of people ask me every time I go on with this project, can you use lunch bags? Yes, you can, but you're going to need at least 4 thicknesses of the brown bag if you're going to use lunch bags. So Tiffany is putting on a layer of wet glue. And remember, it has to be wet glue. You cannot burn dry glue. And you can't burn the brown bag as it is. You got to cover the brown bag with the glue.
So it's a generous coat, and I'll smooth this out just a little bit, but not too thick, because then it takes forever for it to dry.
Yeah. Well, you know, but when you burn it, it kind of dries a little bit. And I was thinking, as you were putting that on, Tiff, that what you might try too on another project, not maybe right this moment, but you know how after I'm done, I always kind of smush in, I want all the texture? If you just left it like that and you burn it and you didn't, you could put it through your machine and you wouldn't have all that texture.
Will you light my candle? Then I can hold this here. And also you'll notice what Heidi did on this when she glued the layers of the brown bag together. She did shape the wings. You can see they have a little bit of a bend, and that's easy to do while that glue is still
it'll only work when it's wet too, to bend it.
So this is a plumber's candle, and it's great because it's tall and it burns with a higher flame. And what I'm going to do is take that wet glue and I'm going to put it right into, let's see if I can get in camera here. I'm going to put it right into the wet glue, and you want to keep it moving around, and I will turn it around so you can see in just a moment here. There will be soot that will be burning off the top of that candle, but this is what it does. It blackens the Aleene's original tacky glue.
Now, someone in here says that we've only tested the Aleene's glue, and that is true. Please don't try this with another glue. We only know that it works with the Aleene's tacky glue. In fact, that was how this project was invented. Was one of the designers back in like the 50s or 60s was testing the glue for flammability and found out that it burnt. It did not catch on fire. It just kind of burned it to be kind of sooty. So please don't try it with something else. The Aleene's tacky glue does work. and it works mighty fine.
So I'm still burning this wet glue. And what you want is you want it to have that real dull sooty look on the glue side. So you see right along here, I still need to burn any place where it's not black and sooty.
See where it even kind of split a little bit right along the center, that white mark there? Yeah, just reburn that.
And yes, Aleene's Tacky Glue has been around since the 1950s. There's a great story of the history of Aleene's that I have put at inspiredathome.com, which is the home of the Aleene's Museum, and you can learn more about Mom's history. I don't know how many of you know that at the age of 19, she opened a fresh florist shop. Then she got into artificial flowers, and the rest is history.
She needed a glue for her artificial flowers.
So I'm going to blow this out and try not to get all of the wax on me. So there you have the burned glue. You would want to repeat this on the back side. All right. And as Heidi mentioned, you glue that wire in to hold on to this while you are burning it. You can let it set for a few minutes. Thanks, Heidi. And then take a soft cloth and you wipe away the soot. And what you have underneath is a very glossy finish, which starts to look like metal. And while I am rubbing it, I do push, if I want to, I do push some of the folds and the texture into it. But since we're trying to put this through the embossing machine today, keep that in mind, that you may not want to do that.
Are you going to do this?
I am. Oh, I do have another one ready to do, as long as I'm okay on time. Let me see where I am on time. Okay, yes, we have time. So anyway, that's how you do the look of the Aleene's Burnt Brown Bag. Let me just really quickly show you. If you're leaving it the look of metal, as Heidi showed a couple weeks ago on the show, you would just use gold rub and buff, and you'd put it on your finger and just highlight. And Heidi is going to do a class at Craft Tech University where she shares other techniques on how you can create other effects and finishes.
Oh, there's so many different effects that you can get from the burnt brown bag, and shapes. You know, you can do like leaves, you can do ships, you can do all kinds of shapes. It's really cool.
All right, so this is one that, this is a butterfly that Heidi created a couple weeks ago. I'll let you take the glue, Heidi, and I'm going to bring in my Texture Boutique here.
And this is a machine that just does texture, right?
Right. This is the Texture Boutique by Sizzix. And so I have my texture envelope, and I am going to place this butterfly was made a couple weeks ago. It's completely dry, and all of the soot has been wiped away. Normally you don't put in the shim when you have thicker pieces, but I really want to get this embossed. So I have the embossing pad down below, I have the shim, I have the envelope, and I have the pad on the top.
Here's this cool machine.
Let me see if I can get this in so you can see this first. This was my machine that I got through Archivers. That's the trademark color for the Sizzix Texture Boutique is that Archivers pink. And I'm going to, my camera's up real close, so bear with me here. And I have a squeaky handle because I totally dropped this machine out of the car one day. Oops.
You got it?
I do. Let me get it off my paper here. Okay, you see it coming out the back. And just to let you know, the show ends at 1:30 Eastern Time in about 10 minutes or so, but you can pick up the show in the replay. All right, so I'm opening this up. Let's see how this works. So we'll see if you can see it here.
You can. That is really
cool. See? So there's the answer for those of you a couple of weeks ago who were asking if we could stamp into this. You can emboss, and of course it makes a beautiful design on the back with the paper. But keep in mind that glue is thick and it may bounce back a little bit. So
now it just needs a little bit of rub and buff. I should have brought it down the hallway.
I know you should have. Maybe you'll have time. You can take this with you to your camera for our wrap-up.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, one more thing I want to show. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Was this last week? I told everyone I would share my eco-embellishment book that I made because I finished it up. This is how I showed you how to do the stenciling with the texture paste. I used my eco-embellishment paper and I glued on ribbons and leaves, and I have just bound my book, and I promised everyone that I would show the finished book. And I'm not sure if I can actually zoom out at all. I think I've zoomed out my camera as far as I can. The other thing I wanted to share with you is I actually scanned this picture on the front and I printed it onto the pages inside. So it was a really fun way to make a lovely, inspired imagination, dream, create book. So I wanted to share with everyone that I finished my book. I used my Crop-A-Dial to crop out and punch some more holes to do my binding. And for anyone who missed my demonstration on this, you can go to our recorded shows.